Hi, my name is Dr.AhMath. Welcome to the course of Biophysics 1. In this lecture, we're going to continue our discussions about action potential. And in particularly, we're going to discuss how the action potential is going to propagate. So previously, we discussed the action potential, and we've seen them in different types of the cells. And depending on the type of the cell, the shape of the action potential is going to be different. So for example, but essentially the action potential is increase and decrease of the membrane potential across the membrane of the cells. So let's consider how the action potential looks like for the neurons, for example. So I've got the neuron where the potential, potential membrane is at the rest is equal to the minus 70 millivolts. It means that the charge inside the cell is going to be less than the charge outside for approximately 70 millivolts. So because of the permeability of the potassium and the sodium ions, also these processes are going to happen so that the potential membrane is going to increase and decrease. So this process is called the action potential. So in this case, the signs of the potential membrane is going to change. So it's changed. So initially at the rest, it's minus inside and plus outside. Then it becomes plus inside and minus outside. So this is called the depolarization. And when it becomes again minus and plus, it is called the repolarization. So depolarization, repolarization, and again the rest. So the action potential in cardiac muscles are going to be slightly different. So we have got the different values for the potential membrane again. So at the rest, it's going to be minus 90. So it's going to increase until plus 20. Then it's going to hold on for a while, so between 0 and 5 millivolts. So this process of increase of the potential membrane is called the depolarization because of the signs are going to change. So this process, when the potential membrane is going to hold on this position, is called the plateau. And when the potential membrane is going to again decrease, it's called the repolarization. So for us, it's more important is how actually the potential membrane is propagates. Basically, so the neurons are going to transmit the signals, particularly because of the action potential or using the action potential. And I would like to know actually how the action potential are going to propagate. So in order to do this, I would like to zoom in just some part of the neuron, and I would like to look to the charge. So here again, the charge inside is negative. So not charge actually, so the charge is positive, but the potential membrane is going to be negative inside, and potential membrane is positive outside. So again, so when the actual potential happens, it basically depolarize the things, right? So depolarization when the signs inside is becoming positive and signs outside are becoming negative, right? So this depolarization happens, then it basically propagates through these cells here. So to the left actually. So it basically, so the depolarization happens, so it will propagate it will like trigger the next cells to depolarize again. While here we are going to have the repolarization, right? So this phase of the action potential are going to happen here, while here, this phase of the action potential will start. So basically we are going to have depolarization here, repolarization here. And again, at the next cell, so we're going to have depolarization here, repolarization here. Next cell is going to be depolarization here, repolarization here, and so on. So again, so the action potential is going to be transmitted in this way. So I would like to try to understand this even more deeper, and let's look to this in the cellular level. So again, if you remember, so we've got these two voltage-gated channels for the sodium ions and for the potassium ions. So they basically control this action potential, the depolarization and repolarization, right? So at the rest, when it is minus 70 millivolts inside, so the potential membrane is minus 70 millivolts inside the cell, all of those gates are closed. But somehow, because of some stimulation So the potential membrane inside the cell may become minus 55 millivolts. In this case, this voltage-gated sodium gate channel is going to be open and let in the sodium ions into the cell. So they are going to go inside and they are going to propagate to all the directions. And if you remember this little circle, so this is really important actually, because this sodium, voltage-gated sodium ion, is going to have 3 states, not 2. So basically, so it has a state closed, it has the state open, and also it has a state deactivated. What does it mean? So let's discuss what does it mean. So actually, so the sodium ions are going inside, right? So they are going to basically make the charge inside the cell positive, so that the charge here is becoming plus 30, so that the voltage-gated potassium channels are going to be open and let out the potassium ions, so that the charge here is becoming again to the normal position, right? So again, so this charge basically, so the sodium ions are going to go to the next cell, and so here it usually at the rest is equal to the minus 70, but because of the sodium ions, so the potential membrane inside the cell is increasing, right? Because of the sodium ions are going to move there, for example, right? And it becomes again minus 55. When it increases until minus 55, it opens again. So the sodium ions are going inside, right? So they will increase actually the potential membrane. So when they increase until plus 30, this voltage-gated potassium gate channel is going to open and let out the potassium, so that the potential membrane inside the solid becoming to the normal position again. So when this gate is increasing, so this gate, voltage-gated sodium gate channel, is not closed actually. So this is deactivated. So this little circle is going to here in the middle and doesn't let in the more sodium ions, basically. So what does it mean? It means that whenever your sodium ions are going inside your cell, so they're going to move in all the directions, to the right and to the left. So in this case, so this is our left direction. So this is going to be left direction. So they will go to the left and they also go to the right. And the problem is that why they are not going to basically activate this voltage-gated sodium channel is because it is in the deactivated mode. Basically, we are going to have a closed voltage-gated sodium channel. We're going to have open voltage-gated sodium channel, and also we are going to have the deactivated one when it is not going to basically let in the more sodium ions. So all the sodium, so some portion of the sodium ions which are going in that direction do not basically cannot trigger basically this voltage-gated sodium channel to open and let in more the sodium ions. So basically, so we are going to go on, so only this sodium ions are going to trigger this one, which is in the closed position. So if it is closed in position, when the membrane potential becomes minus 55, it is going to be open and let in more sodium ions. Again, so this is going to go to the left, it will go open, so minus 55, it will let more sodium ions, so when it becomes plus 30, it will let out more potassium, it is in deactivated, and again, so those sodium ions which are going to go to the next one, and so on. And all of this process are going to happen again and again. So this is how actually the action potential is going to be transmitted through the cells. So this is really important for us because in our next lectures, we're going to go in a higher level. So basically it was in the deeper level. So when we look to this in the cellular level, so now when we know and understand how the action potentials are moved, so we're going to talk about how we can use this and how we can measure this.